check was fake. Father of my child ruined me financially. Our entire savings account is gone. You took money that a dead woman left to her great-grandchildren and wired it to a scammer in another country. Am I the a-hole for not giving my parents my inheritance? Throwaway account. My fiance was tricked and lost our down payment and savings. My fiance was selling his old mountain bike online. Someone messaged my fiance with an offer and said they would send the funds in advance and send their cousin to pick up the bike the next day. My fiancé had promised me he would only accept pickup in person with cash in hand. My fiancé told the buyer he would accept a transfer. The buyer sent it, but accidentally added an extra zero to the amount. My fiancé told the buyer he would transfer it back since it was a mistake. He told my fiancé he got locked out of his bank due to the mistake, so my fiancé should transfer it to his cousin's account. My fiancé did that. The buyer asked my fiancé to use a different app since he was still locked out of his bank. He sent it to my fiancé, but again, he added an extra zero and doubled it. Again, my fiancé sent back the funds. They arranged for my fiancé to meet the buyer's cousin in person and exchange the bike for a check. The check was higher than the agreed amount, and the cousin told my fiancé it was a bonus for his trouble. My fiancé deposited the check. The funds from the first transfer were from a stolen bank account. That transfer was reversed. The funds from the other app were from a stolen account as well, and that transfer was reversed too. The check was fake and was clawed back by the bank. Our entire savings account is gone. What we had saved for a down payment, we were looking for a house, and now everything is gone. I didn't find out about any of this until after the fact because my fiancé deleted the alerts from my phone and deleted the texts because he didn't want me to find out. Honey, I need you to sit down with me for a second because I have some very serious concerns about this man's ability to perceive reality. Let us walk through this together, step by step, because I genuinely cannot do it alone. Red flag number 1. A stranger on the internet offers to send money before picking up the item. This is the oldest opening move in online scam history. It is so well documented that your grandfather probably got a chain email warning about it in 2003. Your fiancé did not clock this. Red flag number 2. The buyer accidentally added an extra zero to a bank transfer, and now he needs it sent not back to himself, but to his cousin. A cousin who appeared in this story from absolutely nowhere, like a side character nobody ordered. Your fiancé did not clock this either. Red flag number 3. The exact same thing happened again on a different app. Same extra zero. Same locked out of the bank story. Same cousin energy. The scammer did not even bother changing the script. He ran the identical play, and your fiancé just stood there like, yes, part 2, let us do this again. Red flag number 4. A complete stranger physically hands your fiancé a check for more than the agreed amount and explains it is a bonus for his trouble at a bike sale from a person he has never met in his entire life. And your fiancé held that check in his hands, looked at it, and thought, you know what? This seems right. I want to be very clear about something. This scammer is not a genius. He is not sophisticated. He did not use technology or clever psychology or anything remotely advanced. He used the same trick 4 times on the same person in the same afternoon, and it worked every single time. Your fiancé is not the victim of a mastermind. He is the victim of someone who found out very quickly that they did not need to try hard at all. Your entire down payment, your future home, gone. Because a stranger on the internet said the word cousin, and your man just went with it. File a police report today and get the report number. Contact your bank's actual fraud department, not customer service, the fraud department, and bring every transaction record and that police report and push hard for a reversal. I hope you guys figure this out, and for your future kid's genetic pool's sake, find a new guy because his IQ is sitting at freezing point right now. I think my brain cells died reading that. Off to the next. Father of my child ruined me financially. How do I get out of this rut? I'm a 26-year-old woman, and I have a 6-month-old baby with my boyfriend of 2.5 years. I am doing so badly financially that I want to cry looking at my bank accounts. In my early 20s, just before meeting him, I had $33,000 in my bank account, and I was doing so much better than I am now. I managed to buy a piece of wooded land with a cabin on a mountain in West Virginia, but I can't develop it right now. I have no money and have not had any income since 7 months ago. I have $1,400 in credit card debt from making a trip to another state to try to work it out with my baby daddy. But I had nowhere to live, so I went back to my mother's house. I used the last of my savings to buy an old RV. But now it is broken down in another state at his dad's house. The father of my child is completely broke. unemployed, lost everything in a few months, and is facing bankruptcy and having his truck repossessed. He didn't sign the birth certificate or establish legal paternity. He has threatened to take me to court, but doesn't even have money for a phone. He had me thrown out of the only job I ever had in that field after 3 days, and I never managed to get another one. I have a clear criminal record, a paid-off car, and I have never done drugs or smoked cigarettes. I have no real work experience in my field and have never been good at getting jobs because of social anxiety. I need to take any job I can get seriously. I have transfer college credits for engineering, but it is not enough to do anything with. I was forced to move and be uprooted so many times this whole relationship, and I wish I had focused on my own stability instead of having a child with him. How can I get enough income to not suffer like this? I want to talk to you first before I say anything else. You came into this relationship with $33,000 saved in your early 20s. That is not nothing. That is discipline and hard work and self-awareness that most people your age do not have. You were doing something right before this man entered your life, and I need you to remember that, because what happened to you was not the result of stupidity. It was the result of trusting someone who was not worth it. Now let me talk about him for a second, because I have some things to say. This man got you pregnant, refused to sign the birth certificate, got you fired from your job, drained your financial stability, had you driving to another state with your last money, trying to salvage a relationship with someone who was simultaneously going bankrupt, and is now threatening to take you to court without even owning a phone. He does not have money for a phone. Let that be the last sentence you ever take seriously from him. A man threatening legal action who cannot afford basic communication is not a threat, he is noise. He left you with a 6-month-old baby, no income, a broken RV at his dad's house, and the audacity to threaten court. This is not a man who had a hard time. This is a man who used you as a financial and emotional resource until there was nothing left, and then fell apart himself because there was no one left to drain. First things first, file for child support immediately. I know he is broke right now, but establishing legal paternity and a child support order protects you and your child long term when he eventually gets income, and he will have to eventually. That order is already in place. Go to your local family court and start this process this week. Apply for every assistance program available to you right now. Medicaid, for you and the baby. Housing assistance, all of it. These programs exist for exactly this situation, and using them is not failure. It is intelligent resource management while you rebuild. Your land in West Virginia is an asset. Do not forget that. Even undeveloped wooded land has value and options. You could potentially rent it, sell timber rights, or use it as collateral down the line. Do not let that asset sit forgotten while you are struggling. For income, your engineering transfer credits combined with any remote administrative or data entry work gets you earning while you figure out the next step. Look at remote work platforms immediately, because your social anxiety does not disqualify you from jobs that never require you to speak to anyone in person. You had $33,000 before this man showed up. You have a paid-off car, land, a child you are clearly fighting for, and the self-awareness to ask for help. That is a foundation. It does not feel like one right now, but it is. He took a detour from your life, not the destination. Get back on your road. Geez, that was a tough read. Okay, next. My grandma sent her life savings and my sister's inheritance to a love scammer. Found out today my grandmother is flat broke, lost everything, thousands of dollars in debt. To add insult to injury, my own grandmother stole me and my sister's inheritance that was left to us by my great-grandmother. Some scammer somewhere took it all. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to be understanding. But at the end of the day, my own grandmother stole something that was left to me by my deceased great-grandmother. I don't know if I should cry or call out of work. I love my grandma. And I'm sorry if I'm making it about myself, but that's just a crazy betrayal to me. I would never steal anything from her, and for her to do that to me hurts. She apologized and said she was ashamed, and all I could do was say that I forgive her. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still processing what happened and the gravity of what she did. She has nothing left, and we told her over and over again that it was a scam. Her bank dropped her because she refused to stop sending him money. It wasn't like she wasn't warned. We beat the horse to the point of pulverization. She not only didn't listen to us, but stole from her own grandkids. Thank you for reading. I needed to scream into the void before I go to bed. Okay, Grandma. We need to have a very serious conversation right now, and I need you to put down whatever you're doing and listen to me very carefully. This man you have been sending money to, has he ever taken you to dinner? No. Has he ever held your hand? No. Has he ever shown up at your door with flowers? No. Has he ever video called you with the camera actually working and his actual face on the screen? Absolutely not. This man exists entirely as words on a phone screen. And somehow you decided that this was the love of your life, and that the correct response to that feeling was to send him every single dollar you have ever saved, and not just your money, Grandma, not just your life savings. You went into the account where your deceased mother had left money specifically for her great-grandchildren, and you sent that to a man you have never been in the same room with, to a man whose actual face you have probably never even seen, to a man who, and I say this with full confidence, is sitting in a room somewhere overseas wearing flip-flops and laughing. Your family warned you. Did you listen? No. Your friends warned you. Did you listen? No. Your bank, a financial institution whose entire job is to process transactions without asking questions, warned you so many times that they eventually looked at your account, looked at your history, looked at themselves in the mirror, and said, "We cannot do this anymore," and canceled your account. Your bank broke up with you. Grandma, your bank looked at what you were doing and said, "I don't want to be involved in this," and walked away. And through all of that, through every single person and institution in your life, waving red flags the size of buildings, you kept sending money. I have one question and I need an honest answer. What exactly did this man say? Because whatever it was apparently more convincing than your own family, your own friends, your own bank, and your own deceased mother's wishes combined. This man deserves some kind of award for what he pulled off, because, Grandma, you did not make this easy. You had an entire support system trying to stop you, and he won anyway. And the absolute nerve, the audacity, to then look your grandchildren in the face and apologize like you accidentally broke a vase. You took money that a dead woman left to her great-grandchildren and wired it to a scammer in another country because he called you beautiful on the internet. I cannot. I genuinely cannot. Romance scams are federal crimes, and every report filed helps build cases against these networks. Contact an elder law attorney, because depending on the state, there may be legal avenues for recovering some of the funds, especially given the documented pattern of financial exploitation. Use the words elder financial abuse specifically, because it carries different legal weight than a standard fraud complaint. Going forward, Grandma needs supervised access to her finances, not because she is incapable as a person, but because she has demonstrated that when she is emotionally involved, she will override every rational warning from every person and institution in her life. That is not a personality flaw. That is what targeted emotional manipulation does to people. But the solution is structural, not conversational, because clearly conversation did not work. And Grandma, I say this with love. The next time a man on the internet tells you he thinks you are special and just needs a little financial help, I need you to close the app, put down the phone, call one of your grandchildren whose inheritance you have not yet sent to a stranger, and go touch some grass. You are done with online dating. You are retired from love, effective immediately. You have caused enough damage in the romantic arena, and it is time to hang up the jersey. Okay, this is my last one, gang. Right Hall 7066. Am I the a-hole for not giving my parents my inheritance? I never thought I'd find myself in this situation, but I'm here with a problem that's tearing my family apart. Recently, I received an inheritance from my late grandfather. It's not a small sum of money, and while I'm incredibly grateful for it, I've also been met with unexpected pressure from my parents to hand over a significant portion of it to them. My parents have done a lot for me over the years. They've provided for me, supported me through tough times, and I'll always be grateful for that. But they're not exactly in a dire financial situation. They're not struggling to make ends meet. At first, I tried to brush off their hints and subtle nudges, hoping they'd understand that this money is mine to do with as I see fit. But as time went on, their requests became more obvious and persistent. They even went so far as to guilt trip me, playing the "we raised you, we deserve this" card. One day, when I came to their house for dinner, my auntie started saying worse and worse things about why I should give them the inheritance. And my mother said, "Oh my God, why don't you just hand over the money that was supposed to be ours, but that stupid old man gave you?" With my father also bad-mouthing my grandfather, telling me that my grandfather was the best person I have ever known, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the person I am. I'm torn. On one hand, I feel a sense of obligation to help my parents. On the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that it's unfair for them to expect me to hand over my inheritance without question. I have seriously worked hard to build a stable financial future for myself, and this inheritance is a part of that plan. Am I the bad guy for standing my ground and refusing to give my parents my inheritance? Let me make sure I understand what happened at that dinner table. Your mother, a woman who's by your own description not struggling to make ends meet, sat across from you, looked you in the eye, and said out loud with her whole chest that the money your grandfather specifically chose to leave to you was actually supposed to be hers. And your father, rather than showing any dignity whatsoever, decided to join in by bad-mouthing the man who just passed away, the man who raised their grandchild's parent, at the dinner table, over money that was never theirs. Your grandfather knew what he was doing when he made that decision. Grandparents who write wills are not confused. They are not accidentally leaving money to the wrong person. He looked at his family, made a deliberate choice, and left that inheritance to you specifically. And your parents' response to that decision, made by a man who is no longer here to defend himself, was to call him a stupid old man. Let that sit for a moment. They are not struggling. They are not in crisis. They are comfortable people who saw a sum of money they did not receive and decided that guilt-tripping their own child at a dinner party was a reasonable response. The We Raised You card is particularly special because by that logic, every parent in human history is owed a percentage of every good thing that ever happens to their child for the rest of time. That is not how love works. That is not how family works. And it is absolutely not how inheritance law works. The answer to your question is no. You are not the bad guy. You're not even close to being the bad guy. And I want you to hear that clearly because the guilt they have planted in you is doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is make you question something that should not require any questioning at all. Do not give them the money, not because they do not deserve good things, but because this money was not left to them. It was left to you by a person who loved you and made a deliberate decision. Honoring that decision is not selfish. It is respectful. Take that inheritance, put it somewhere it cannot be accessed by emotional pressure, whether that is a separate account they do not know the details of, or an investment that locks it away for a defined period, and let it do what your grandfather intended it to do, which is secure your future. Have one calm, final conversation with your parents where you say clearly that you love them, you are grateful for everything they have done, and this money is not something you are going to be discussing further. Then do not discuss it further. Every time they bring it up, the answer is the same. It is not up for debate. Your grandfather picked you. Stand in that. And your parents calling a deceased man a stupid old man for leaving his own money to his own grandchild, it's one of the most embarrassing things I have heard at a dinner table, and I have heard a lot. Absolute clowns, both of them. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this week's video. As always, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It would really help Uncle Joey out.